Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to do something that I do a lot, and I wanted to share some of my tips and tricks. It's going to be a frontal install. If you don't know, if you are not subscribed yet, I am a licensed cosmetologist, and I specialize in a lot of hair extensions and frontals and natural hair as well. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe. There's going to be a lot more to come. Thank you. Let's get started.
So I'm just using my contour palette to get the color that matches her skin tone, and I lightly brush it onto the frontal. To me, this is the most effective when I try to get the color to match. I tint the lace, but even when I tint the lace, I have to put makeup on it. After I've rubbed that all in, I seal it with the Got2b freeze spray. It lasts much longer like that. Then I'm just spraying it with water so that I can brush all of the hair back so nothing gets in the way when I'm applying it. So this frontal did come pre-plucked in the very front of the hairline, but she has a smaller head, and I already know that I'm gonna have to play with this hairline a lot more. And there's also a line of demarcation that I like to get rid of. A lot of the times, even when they come pre-plucked, there's that line of demarcation. I'm gonna try to slow it down a little. If you kind of saw that, where it thickens up about 1/4 of an inch from the front of the hairline. So I just go in there to break that up so that we can get rid of that line of demarcation just like that, so it can lay back like if you were putting a comb through it. And it's more gradual. It makes it look more natural, especially if they have a smaller hairline. You want to make sure to do that. And this is the Bold Hold Skin Protect. You want to apply this to the skin with a towel before you actually apply the glue. So I go all across her hairline. Anywhere that I'm going to be applying the glue, that's where I'm going to be rubbing on the Skin Protect. And the Skin Protect, it does remove like all the oils and everything from the area. So it might leave an ashy cast, but don't worry about it. And after you've applied it, you can clean it off with some alcohol. It'll come right off. What we're putting on the frontal, this is a larger sized frontal. It's a 13x6, so it gives you a lot more scalp space. But she does have a smaller head and a lower hairline. One thing I've noticed with the people with low hairlines, you know, it's mainly at the temples and the forehead goes higher. So you got to get a little creative when you're putting the frontal on them. And don't be afraid to come down a little more. That's why you pluck it more, because it's not as bulky at the hairline, so it looks more natural, and it'll gradually thicken as it goes further back in the head, so it doesn't look so thick around her face, and it still goes with her. I'm just cutting it right now using jagged cuts. Do not cut straight. If you cut straight, it leaves more of a halo effect where you kind of see that mark where the lace is. So this kind of breaks it up a bit. So I always do it in a jagged fashion. And I try to always stay as far away from the actual hairline as I can, with still making it look natural. I'm using the Bold Hold Active glue as well. As you see, I do very thin layers. At first, when I first applied it, it looked kind of thick, but I pick it up with my popsicle stick as I go. I've learned through time that it's been the easiest with the popsicle sticks because I don't have to worry about re-cleaning my tools, getting the glue off, and all of that. And then you just lay the lace on it. I lightly press it in. Then I go in with my comb to press it in a little more. Doing it with the comb keeps it cleaner, so you're not pushing hairs into the glue. It just focuses on getting the lace melted. And after I've done that, then I can start cutting more of that hairline back. You know, whatever hasn't touched the glue, I can still cut and still have a clean application and give her a little bit more forehead space too. After the middle is done, then I'll go to one side of the head to get that done. You can do it in pieces. Sometimes I'll do the whole side. Sometimes I'll just do from, you know, that top corner until the temple, make sure that's laid, and then do the next part. You'll see it as I go. I tend to have different techniques of how I do it every time. It kind of depends on the person, what I'm feeling I want to do. As you saw with the top of her head, I cut the lace before I put the glue on, but on the sides, I'm actually going to cut the lace after I put the glue on. And for the amount of layers that I do for this glue, this is the Bold Hold Active. The amount of layers I normally do is about 3 layers. Sometimes on the sides, I might do 4 because a lot of the times the ear tabs are the first to come up. So just to give it extra security, I'll do 4. But with that glue, you can do, I think it's up to like 5 or 7 layers. You kind of just go with what you like. Although I do my layers thick or extremely thin, I noticed when I do more than about 3-4 layers, it's a little bit too thick still, even with my really thin layer. So just be mindful of that, because if it's too thick, even though it's clear, it could go through the lace and stick to the hair and create a mess when you go to press on it. Believe me. So yeah, I've used the regular Bold Hold and Bold Hold Active, and 3 layers has done the job for me. I get about 3 to 4 weeks of hold with that. Okay, so I'm on the other side and I glued it before I cut the lace again. Right now I'm just sticking really close to the hairline. I'll normally do that just to see where it lays, and then you set up your glue so that it gives you a guide of exactly where you want lace to be and where you don't want lace to be. So I cut according to that. I might lay my lace a little bit ahead of the glue because for placement reasons, so that I don't get any type of buckling in my lace. I don't get any bubbles or anything like that, because that could happen. So you got to move with the head and move in a way that keeps the lace flat against the head, so you don't have any type of ripples or anything like that. I have my 91% alcohol. OMG, get 91%, don't get 71%, don't get 50%, get the highest percent you could do. 91 is perfect. It cleans off the glue easily and is just, don't waste your time. Okay, and what I'm doing right here is just sewing down the frontal. So I'm just sewing it at a diagonal from the front, diagonal down and back, making sure that I'm not creating large gaps when I'm sewing it down. You want to sew close so that you don't create any type of buckling or lumps in the frontal. It keeps it flat. And as you see, I do one side go back diagonal, and then I'll take that to the back and I only go up to the middle part. You don't want to go straight across like, you know, what I'm doing right now. You don't want to sew that straight across. The furthest you should go is to the middle, and then you work on the other side and have it meet in the middle. That way it's going to be flat and proportioned. It's just like with like a closure, like a 4x4 closure, how you sew the front, you sew it back, but then you stop and you do the other side and sew it back, and then you have them meet in the back middle to make sure that the closure, that 4x4 closure, is really flat. Then I put a wrap on it so that the lace can start melting. What is melting? Well, melting, my dear, is when the lace actually settles into the glue and we have a perfect melt, like butter. Like it just what's another word for melt? It just melts in there. Like you will know. It's like what lace like that. So you'll see when I take it off, like you see like the lace, the edges that may have been more visible in the last clip that I had, they are going to blend more with the glue and really adhere to the skin, so the edges are no longer sticking out or they're not as visible. Speaking of melts, exactly what lace are we talking about right now? Like let's which one? Where? Who? Okay, let me stop playing. Okay, so I'm setting the baby hair now. I just part out some hair and I cut it pretty short, like we naturally would our ideal baby hairs. She already has a low hairline, so I'm not about to do too much with the baby hair. Give it something real natural and short that doesn't overpower her forehead too much. And I'm sorry, if I'm doing curly hair, I'm doing baby hair, because naturally people with curly hair have baby hair. I think that it's not as natural. Okay, so all your hairs is long, all your edge. Okay, it just doesn't work that way with curly hair. So I cut the baby hair, and I just think that baby hair can be very flattering. It doesn't have to be over exaggerated. It's just softening of the edges. And now I put the actual edge control on it. The edge control that I love to use is called Black Panther Strong. Okay, I thought the name was so cheesy, so I didn't use it like the first 2 months that I knew it was out. And then my client right here, she put me onto it, and I have not stopped using it ever since then. It helps me set the hair in place for natural hair and frontals, and it gives it a good hold without any hardness. Like after it evaporates, maybe a day or so later, the hair is still laid exactly how you had it. So I really appreciate that about Black Panther. Then I set everything in place, the glue with the Got To Be hairspray. Yes, I spray it on the hair through the lace, and then I run my finger over it so it doesn't get hard or flaky looking or anything. Then I wrap it, and I'll get to the styling part so it can set better. You want to put a wrap on it so everything will flatten and melt like butter, baby. Okay, so this was some bomb hair. It was super thick, and you'll see, like, you see how big it is right now, and it takes the water so well, and it's just some nice hair. I colored it. Ew. I actually have another video that I did on her hair when I did a press and curl, and you'll still see how thick this hair is even after it's pressed. So go ahead and check that video out. Actually, it's not out yet, but stay tuned. It's gonna be here like in the next few days. So then I just like zhuzh up the curls, make it real juicy and succulent. And go over it with the blow dryer. And then we is melted. We is kind. We is smart. We is slay, baby. If you found this helpful, please make sure you like this video. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and comment down below. If you are not subscribed, subscribe. There is so much more information that I want to share with you guys. Extensions, weaves, all of that. we're going to be talking about here. Stay tuned.